Hi, thanks for joining me today. My name is Allison Miller, and this is Spiritual Wellness. Spiritual Wellness, I'm trying to bring you a program every Tuesday at about 10 a.m. I release it onto YouTube. And in this episode, we will talk about how to really connect more deeply with our inner selves through the practice of yoga, through meditation techniques. Today's practice is all about softening and releasing. It's about letting go of control, the illusion of control. Oftentimes, we're setting ourselves up for a lot of disappointment when we start to try to control situations, because ultimately all we can really control is ourselves and how we react to situations. Oftentimes, that's all we can control. And so today's practice is all about releasing this idea of control, letting go, and seeing how that might influence our practice on our mats. And you can kind of see how you might play with it and take it with you off of your mat too. When we're present with what is, and we're just kind of finding peace with what is, rather than trying to control an outcome and make it look different, we're just gonna feel happier, feel more whole. And I know that is sometimes difficult to do, but it's something to aspire to, and it's something that you can do with practice. Let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat. Today's practice I will guide using a strap for one pose, strap, belt, scarf is fine. There may be a couple of places where you would enjoy a yoga block or two or something else that would lift the floor up just a little bit. And then something to sit on can always just be a really nice treat for you. So go ahead, take your seat and start to tune in here. Feel into the sit bones. Start to notice the breath through the nose. Start to just notice that flow of breath in through the nose and out. And try to identify if there's just any constriction, hesitation, pause, any parts of the breath that feel a little bit more tense or tight. See if we can soften and smooth any rough edges that you might find on the breath today. And oftentimes inviting a quality into the breath that you would like to find in the mind can help to start to shape the mind into that quality. The mind will kind of follow the breath. So think about bringing more softness, kind of letting go of controlling the breath, but finding more softness and more ease within it today. We'll bring our hands lightly together at our heart palms to touch. As I record this class today, it is the day after the new moon. You'll see it 2 days after the new moon, but still some good energy for setting an intention for this cycle of the new moon. Take a few moments to choose an intention. Lightly let your hands float down, and let's start to make some circles, shoulders circling around the hips here. And you might get your spine articulating just a little bit, kind of rounding the back a bit as you go back and bringing the heart forward a little bit as you come forward. And it's nice to bring the inhale in on that movement forward where the heart's coming up and open, and see if on the exhale you can be rounding the back, kind of bringing your back around. All right, go ahead and change direction of these circles now. Letting it just feel smooth. Letting go of trying to make the movement look a certain way. Just feeling good in your body. And how often is that the cue in life, right? How often does the mind get the message that all I have to do right now is feel good in my body? That's what I want you to embody here, is just find goodness, find sweetness of movement. Go ahead and just pause here. All right, taking a breath in, we're gonna bring the arms all the way up. And as you exhale, let the hands come down through the crown, third eye, throat, and landing at the heart. On the next in-breath, take the arms up again and see if you can just fill the arms in with some good, kind of positive vibes. And as you exhale, draw it down to the crown, third eye, throat, resting at the heart, maybe taking just a beat there. And then inhale, filling it in again, good vibes, positive energy coming into the body here. And then really inserting it on the exhale into the crown chakra, third eye, throat energy center, heart. Couple more, just finding a groove, finding a nice, sweet, ease-filled breath and movement. Connect with those energy centers as you roll through them. All right, next time hands are at the heart, just pause. And breathe right into the hands. Feel the hands lift with the in-breath, soften and lower with the out. Taking one more breath here just to continue to insert some of those good, positive, bright vibes into the heart. And then we'll go ahead and come around to all fours. So you can slide your cushion aside if you were using one. And taking yourself to all fours here. We're going to do just a little different version of Chakravakasana pose today. So Chakravakasana, we'll do just a couple rounds in, say, a traditional fashion here. So when you inhale, you come forward with the heart just a little bit forward from the tabletop position. And then as you exhale, go ahead and take hips toward the heels into more of a child's pose. And as you inhale, come on back up. And you can keep the tops of the feet flat into the mat. Unless you're having kind of a bottom of the foot cramp like myself, then it might feel good to keep the toes on the ground and stretch out the soles of the feet here. We're just going to do one more time. This is just traditional Chakravakasana. Inhaling to tabletop, exhaling, child's. All right, next in-breath, let's meet here in tabletop. And all we're going to do is take the right knee a couple inches forward of the left. So typically knees are just kind of lined up. Today we're going to put the right knee just a couple inches in front of the left. Keep the left right under the hip, right knee a couple inches in front. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, go ahead and go back towards child's pose. And I want you to be just a little mindful here in the pose of how this feels in the hips today. And just noticing how it feels a little different than doing the traditional Chakravakasana where the knees are lined up. Where in the body you're feeling a little different sensation. All right, next inhale, come on back up. And let's move the right knee so that it's in line with the left, so they're both under the hips. Let's take one Chakravakasana with both knees in line. So go ahead and inhale forward. Exhale back. And then inhale, come up. Now we'll move the left knee just a couple inches forward. And this is really subtle work, right? You're not going to maybe notice an astronomical difference. It's not like the difference between triangle pose and warrior pose. But there is a subtle difference in the feelings here in the hips. In the back body, just notice. Left knee's a little bit forward this time. Notice how it feels a little different. And stay connected to the breath. We're giving the brain some good information about where the body's at. And when the brain knows where the body's at, the nervous system can start to relax. Stop sending out all that adrenaline and cortisol. And we'll start to feel a little bit more centered and grounded. Just one last time here. Go ahead and go back. And inhale, come up. All right. Line the knees up so they're both in a line here. On the inhale, we'll take it forward tabletop. As you exhale, head back, hips toward heels, child's pose. Just a couple more. We just kind of want to even out after the unevenness of that last pose. So nice flat back on your inhale. Exhale, head back. One more time. And go ahead and rest back here into child's pose. And this might be a nice point just to remind that, the seeking is really all that's needed sometimes, and the awareness. Being aware of habits can help us change habits. And seeking a little bit deeper connection with spirit can help us start to find one. The seeking and the awareness. All right, as you inhale, go ahead and come on back up. And let's take hands to the blocks. You may or may not need them, but this one, it is nice to have them. We're going to take the right foot back, just a touch here, and bounce off the ball of the right foot. Inhale and lift the right leg. Exhale, bring the right foot through between the hands. We're just going to take low lunge here. Right foot, the ankle should be under the knee. It can be a little bit in front of the knee, but shouldn't be behind the knee. And then go ahead and come on up here, up onto the fingertips. You might just stay here if this is enough opening for the psoas and the hips. But if it feels okay, we can inhale and take the arms up and do that same kind of bring the hands down through the crown, through the throat, to the heart. Do that 2 more times with your breath. To inhale up, flow it down through the crown, staying kind of present with those energy centers, third eye, throat, pause, heart. And one more time. Even if the hands are staying put, you can just be mindful of those energy centers, right? As you exhale, fingertips down. And now we're going to walk the right foot way over to the right side of the mat here. And bring both hands to the inside then of the right foot. And you can sink into the hips just a little bit more here in this lizard variation. You can even walk the knee back if you want a little bit more opening in the hips. You could walk the back knee back a bit. And we're going to soften in on this one. So what I want you to think about is picking a place where you can be in the pose for, a good number of breaths. We're gonna stay about 10 breaths. So you're going to need to not maybe take it to your 110% spot, but take it to a nice kind of 65% of full effort. And then I want you to really tune in. Are you pushing? Are you striving? Are you trying to get deeper into the pose? Or are you assessing where the tightness is, where you're controlling and gripping, and trying to soften and release? See if as you shift awareness from controlling and pushing to softening and releasing, how it might shift your ability to be in the pose. A couple more breaths. All right. Go ahead and start to walk that right foot back to center. As you exhale, we're going to take one stretch for the hamstring. So I'm going to kind of come back onto my left knee, straighten my right leg as much as I can. The blocks really are nice here, or paper towel rolls work well. You can have them at the high or the medium or low setting. And see if you can just stretch into the hamstring here, back of the thigh. And again here, especially, try to just see, forward bends, oftentimes our ability to achieve a forward bend is less about pushing and more about releasing the hamstring. When the hamstring lets go and softens and releases, we are going to get deeper into our forward bends. Trying to push past a tight hamstring is just going to cause frustration though. So go ahead and come forward here, low lunge, and then take the right foot back. Your choice here, rest back into hero's pose for a moment, or you could rest into child's pose for a moment. Just take a moment to pause and notice right hip, left hip. Find the breath. The pause is as important as the pose, especially when we're looking to connect mind and body. All right, inhale, come back forward to tabletop. And then we'll take the left foot back, bounce off the ball of the left foot a few times here. Just get a little stretch through the calf muscle. And then you can bring hands to the blocks if you're using them today and draw the left foot here through between the hands, and the left knee should pretty much be right above the ankle. Walk that right knee back as much as you like to feel that just right amount of openness in the hips. You can come up onto fingertips here, fingertips at the block, and you can just stay a couple breaths here and really focus on opening that right psoas, that big muscle that runs right along the kind of front of the right hip here. It's gonna be the one that makes the right leg lift and lower. Or you can start to add in some arms. You could inhale, take arms up. Exhale to the crown, third eye, throat, heart. Couple more times, just paying a little bit of attention to bringing some good flow into each energy center as you go by. Maybe thinking about releasing any tension from these chakras too. All right, let the hands come down. And then we're going to take our lizard pose. So go ahead and take the block that's under your left hand, right to the inside of the left foot. Left foot can walk over to the left side of your mat here. And you can even turn the left toes out a little bit, be on the outer edge of the left foot if that feels a little bit better for your hip. Find a place of comfort, and if you want to go deeper onto the forearms, you can. You don't have to. It's really finding a place where we can take about 10 breaths here, where you can release. So I don't want you to go down to the forearms if that means you're pushing. If if you're pushing through the pose. Only taking the variation of the pose that really allows us to feel like there is no pushing, no striving, only softening and releasing. That's the focus. Where's the tension? Can you soften? Can you release? About 3 more breaths. Okay, so to walk the left foot back to center, you can kind of slowly release here. Come back onto the right knee and straighten the left leg. We did a pretty good opening for that psoas. You might want to take it just a little slow to come back here. And then a nice big stretch for the back of the thigh, the hamstring muscle here. And again, just thinking about the release of the hamstring more than trying to push yourself deeper into the pose. Really see if by softening the hamstring you can release a little bit more here with each breath. All right, on the in-breath, let's come forward, walk your hands forward. Take your exhale, and then on your inhale, lift your right knee. Hop your right foot forward as you exhale. We're going to take just a nice standard kind of forward fold at the top of our mat, feet about hip distance or a little closer apart. They can be farther apart if the back of the legs is really tight. Soften into the knees here. And let's inhale, take a halfway lift. If this is at all hard on your low back, go ahead and stand up for a moment and join us when you can. You can always use blocks too and put them at their higher setting or the edge of a chair if there's any low back stuff going on. So each exhale sinking in. Each inhale just lifting halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Okay, next time you're in the forward fold, I want you to really play in. And you could have hands again, like I said, blocks or edge of a chair. See if by consciously releasing the hamstrings, the pelvis might tip forward just a little bit better. And you might go more comfortably into your forward fold than you generally do. Perhaps not. If there's stuff going on in the low back, this may or may not help. But I'll tell you, a lot of times low back stuff has to do with tight hamstrings too. So spending more time releasing the hamstrings each day could help. Go ahead and soften the knees now. Press through the feet. Inhale and come all the way up. As you exhale, hands can come down through the heart. Landing at the heart or your sides. Take just a couple breaths here in a mountain pose. Okay, from mountain, we are going to transition onto our backs. So the main focus of today's practice is really just to get into the hips and really release the hamstring too. So we're not going to do as many standing poses today. One of these next few weeks, I'll have to do the kind of alternate of this practice, which is to strengthen and stabilize the hips. We should really be doing both, especially if you're super flexible in the hips. You don't want to just keep doing more and more and more hip openers. So be mindful of that. If you're already open, maybe don't do this practice 4 times a week, right? If you're more tight, this practice a few times a week might be fine. All right, so go ahead and grab your strap and take a lay down for me. And as you lay down, let's take just a moment to really let the body settle, tune in and notice. Breathing in through the nose, maybe letting a little sigh out the mouth. I hope you came here today more for quiet reflection and pausing than lots of fast-moving hip openers, because that's what we're going for. A little hip opening alongside a lot of kind of reflection and connection. All right, let's go ahead and take the strap and just wrap it right around the ball of the foot today. Start with the right foot up. Left leg can stay bent, foot on the floor for this one if you want, or it can go straight. You choose. And now with that left leg straight up, we're going to pulse here a few times. Just pulse the foot towards you and away. Tune into the hamstring here again on the back. And then just hold the pose and take a few moments to see if there can be a release. Rather than using the strap to pull you deeper, kind of find that place where you're feeling stretch and then see if you can just let go and release. All right, take the left leg long now, and we're going to take the right leg across the body. Right leg across the body, left leg long. We're getting a nice outer hip flexor stretch here. And if it's too difficult for you to keep the right knee straight, you can put a bend in it instead and still get a bit of a stretch here in the outer hip flexor. So choose which works for you. The left arm can hold the strap, right arm can kind of go out into the T. And you may even just kind of pulse the toe here toward the top of the head a little bit to feel a little more. You might not need to do that, but you can play with it and see. Keeping that smoothness, that ease, that release quality of the breath. All right, as you inhale, bring the foot straight back up, and then we're going to open the right leg out to the right side. I'm kind of hitting wall here, but you can take it down as far as you want. Don't take it farther than feels good, though. We want to kind of find that balance again here where you're feeling a little stretch. And from that place of just a little stretch, you can try to release rather than pushing yourself deeper. See if you can soften. Find a nice soft breath and release tension to possibly get a little deeper into your stretch. Okay, on an in-breath, bring the right leg straight back up. Take that leg out of the strap, release it down. Take just a moment here, fallen star, maybe feet a little wider than normal, arms out from the shoulders. A couple breaths here, just tuning into energy in the fingertips and the toes. Noticing the breath fill the torso on the in, a good release on the out. Okay, we'll take the strap around the ball of the left foot now. Right foot can stay on the ground, knee bent, or you can take the leg straight. Work into the hamstring, the back of the leg a little bit here first. You might pulse the leg forward and back a bit. And you're just finding where you're feeling the stretch, right? It might be a little bit closer to the floor for you. You might need a little bit more bend in the leg. You do not need to be flexible to do yoga, right? You have to just come to the practice where you are and start working to get a little bit more flexible. Of course, I think the real benefit is the flexibility that we gain off of our mats. the flexibility that we gain as people to just be more present in our relationships, more kind and compassionate to everyone around us. All right, letting yourself just hold the fullest couple breaths, release the hamstrings, soften. And then go ahead and bring the leg across the body, left leg going across to the right side of the body. Big stretch for the outer hip here. You might feel it into the, hamstring, the outer kind of band of the leg here too. But think about just keeping the knee a little softer if there's too much sensation. You can even bend the knee if there's way too much. And then just sinking in a little bit more here with each exhale. And then inhale, bring the leg up. Exhale, open it out to the left side of your mat. Feeling that nice stretch here through the inner thigh. And finding that just right amount of sensation. So not too much, not too little. Once you find that right amount, seeing if you can soften, release, let go of controlling the body so much. See where the release takes you. All right, on the in-breath, you can bring that leg back up, and let's go ahead and release. We'll be done with the strap for now. You can set that aside. Let the arms and the legs be wide again, just a couple breaths to tune in. And then I'm going to have you take a bend in the right knee and put the right foot right on the inside of the left thigh. Let the right knee open. So we're basically in a tree pose on our mats, lying on our backs. We're in a tree pose. And now this is, of course, the complete letting go tree pose because we're a fallen tree. We are just lying on the forest floor. If there's a little too much sensation in the right thigh, right inner thigh, you could always put a block, or a blanket underneath the right knee, just to make that more comfortable. We're going to be here for about 10 more breaths, so just try to soften. Think about releasing a little bit more with each exhale. Letting go of any roots that are still kind of tethering you to the earth. Still tuning into respiration. This movement through the trunk or the torso, just a breath. On your next in-breath, you could lift the right knee back up, let the right hand help you lift it up, and then take the leg long. Taking a full breath in and out with both legs straight for a moment. And then as you're ready, left knee bends, left foot comes to the inside here of the right thigh. Fallen tree here. This pose is all about release. So as you scan all the muscles of the body, you're looking for tension, you're looking to see if you can soften And relax it wherever you're finding it. Cheeks, jaw, glutes. Maybe you're chronically holding a little bit in the brow or the forehead. Noticing the breath lift and lower the torso. It's kind of the beginning of the meditation in terms of just being present. Just a couple more breaths here. Fallen tree. And then you can inhale. Bring that knee up. Take the left leg long. Let the head sway side to side. Adjust the head or the hips if you need to. Perhaps you're able to just take Shavasana here. Bring the hands down towards the side. Still some space between the arms and the body, but maybe lower the arms a bit from that tree shape. Shavasana. You need to place a bolster under your knees or a blanket under your head. Please do so. I'm going to just be sitting up. You stay lying down here for Shavasana. And Shavasana, of course, is kind of the ultimate pose of release, right? It's the ultimate letting go. In Shavasana, it translates as corpse pose. We're really letting go of all kind of worldly ties. Just for this moment here on your mat, you're letting go of the roles that you play. Letting go of the hats that you wear. Letting go of the to-do list. And letting yourself just be present. And of course, in the beginning, if you're new to the practice of yoga and Shavasana, this can be the hardest pose because the mind will start to try to fill in the space, and sometimes we don't like what we're hearing. So a big part of the beginning of this practice is to just start to be okay with whatever's coming into the mind and let it go. Don't try to figure out why this crazy thought popped into your head. There's really no point. It doesn't matter. You can just let it go. That's the key to the practice. It's letting go. That thought is way less important than this moment right here, right now. Detaching, releasing importance from our thoughts is a huge, huge step towards connecting more with spirit, that quieter voice of the intuition. Take another minute or two here just to be with your breath in quiet. You have the time. Please stay in Shavasana as long as you like. If you'd like to take just a couple of minutes of seated meditation with me, roll to your right or left side, take your time. And let yourself press up to a comfortable seat. Judith Lasater says, the more we try to control our world, the less control we have. The more we are willing to let go of control and simply stay present with what is, the more control we have. And I think on the surface, that statement can feel, especially when we're caught in trying to control, that can feel really like, how? What do you mean? But the reality is we do have more control when we just accept and try to connect with our feelings, control what we can control, and let go of the rest. Let's take a moment with breath, seated. Follow the breath here from the edge of the nostrils. Take it up into the midbrain. So whatever you perceive as midbrain. Inhale into the midbrain. Exhale from the midbrain out through the nose. You can start to see the prana, the light, riding in on the breath, filling a little space in the midbrain with a bright white light. Breathing it in, breathing from the midbrain out, following it right out through the edge of the nasal passages. So each breath, you're just trying to do one breath at a time. So breathe it into the midbrain. Exhale, breathe it out. Take one more breath into midbrain, seeing that white light filling in the space at the midbrain, and breathe it out. And then just pause and focus on that light at the midbrain. See if you can let that light expand. Fill in more of the brain, see if it even will reach possibly out from the physical walls of the body. Starting to fill in that energy field around you. White light, pure being, true essence. Hand slightly to the heart, palms to touch, slightly bow, chin forward here. Just take a moment to rest in this peaceful vibration. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace.